but I don't think it's like it changed anything about Martin Bakole, the boogeyman.
What are you expecting the challenges from F.A. Ajagba? What do you expect from him?
Oh, big fight. No, expecting a powerful punch, a tough guy. I think it's a 10 round or 12 round, so expecting good 10 round. But the best is going to stand and one going down. So Ajagba is going to down because I don't think he will take my punishment.
Yeah, when I spoke to him, he said that he felt you wouldn't take his power. What's your response to that?
He's crazy. He doesn't have power. Yeah, he's got power, but that power can't knock Martin Bakole down. But it's not disrespectful because I laugh. I laugh because I know I've taken people that have power than him. His shot never go down. But he believes in himself. Good luck to him. But all I know in my head is I'm going to smash him. No matter it's going to bring power or not, I'll stand for 10 rounds. But I think if he will stand and handle up the punishment because he's coming with power, I'm coming with speed and power.
Do you think that, of course, being...
Those are the words of Martin Bakole in regards to Efe Ajagba. And let me counterpunch. Now, at first, I'm thinking, okay, he's respecting Efe Ajagba. You know, saying it's going to be a good, hard fight. He's a good fighter, and it's going to be, you know, a good 10-rounder, 12-rounder. But then now he laughs because Efe Ajagba mentioned his own power, which you guys heard that Martin Bakole claims that he does not have power. And let me counterpunch. I think the worst thing you can do, especially after getting knocked out yourself, is to underestimate someone else's punching power. I think it's very, very careless and very arrogant, honestly, to think that, you know what, that guy doesn't have power. You know, unless, you know, he's sparred with him before, because, you know, he's the sparring pound for pound #1 king and best fighter in the world based on that platform and that platform only, right? Because he's like now 1-1 in his last couple fights. You know, he lost to Parker, but he beat Anderson. So what do I know? Who knew? But no, I think that's not a good idea for Martin Bakole because I've been telling people, you know, you have to consider someone like Efe Ajagba. You know, he might not be the best or most skilled, but he does have the power. You know, a lot of people have been knocked out by the hands of Deontay Wilder because they underestimated him. Okay, they underestimated his skill. They underestimated a lot of things that he did. And then really the one thing they should have really been paying attention to, they did not. They just thought, you know what, this is an easy walk in the park. I can outbox this guy. Let me do it for 10 rounds. And it don't get to 5 because he's caught you with something that really took you out of here. I think Efe Ajagba, you know, is pretty much the same. See, these fights like this, that you assume are going to go one way, more than likely they go another way. Because the fights we're getting from His Excellency, Turki Al-Sheikh, shout out to him, okay? The boxing league ain't started yet, but shout out to Turki Al-Sheikh, the King of the Ring magazine. He has given us an experience. He's given us fights that we weren't or would have never saw had he not introduced himself. Just like this one, Efe Ajagba versus Martin Bakole it wouldn't have happened, you know, and it wouldn't have happened on the magnitude because Martin and Bakole probably wouldn't even got the Jared Anderson fight had not Turki set it up, you know. So we're learning in these fights that it's not all about our perception or our opinion. And based on our perception, our opinion, these guys don't have to fight because we already know who's going to win. See, we've been doing that shit for years. We've been doing that for years because there have been so many fights that didn't happen. We didn't get the opportunity to ever see them. So all we done, we just drew our own conclusion. And since we've drew our conclusion so much in this sport, we just think with forums, with channels, with opinions, with ideas and predictions. I feel that we have drawn so many different scenarios that aren't true. What we're seeing now is the era of let's see, because we're getting the opportunity to see what happens when these guys actually fight, because they're fighting, period. You know, and back to Martin McCauley's like, oh man, he can't punch. You know, I got punching power and I got speed, but he can't punch. So we will see if it's true. But I'll say this, if he gets knocked out, don't say I didn't tell you so. Not that I'm wanting him to, because I do want to see what Martin McCauley can do based on what we've already seen him do. Okay, keep that in mind. But someone like Efe Ajagba that only has one loss, okay, and that was the Frank Sanchez that has one loss by the WBC interim champion right now, I get Kabayel. You can't overlook someone like that. But you guys tell me what you think of Martin McCauley claiming that Efe Ajagba doesn't have power. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.